our speaker today. We are so privileged to have our speaker today, and that is in the way of Dr. Leonard Scott, who is the founder and CEO of the nation's oldest gospel recording company, Ty Scott Inc., which has been home to many superstar recording artists in the genre. He is also a highly sought after health practitioner in the field of dentistry, a radio talk show host on health, a pastor, and author of 3 books, his latest being The Ultimate Boost from Within. And this is a long title, but it's called The Ultimate Boost from Within, 31 Days of Health, Wealth, Wholeness, and Happiness. Bless your bones. Dr. Scott has successfully practiced dentistry in his home community of Indianapolis, Indiana, for more than 40 years. He pastors Rock Church there, but has traveled throughout the United States and abroad, speaking on health-related topics and preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. In his many years of practicing in the health field and interviewing hundreds of health professionals on the radio talk show called Medically Speaking, sponsored by the Marion County Public Health Department, he has observed the gross discrepancies of those who are sick and those who are healthy, and has come to the conclusion that the gap between the two is not always that wide. The sick among us can greatly improve their lives by making only a few changes. He concludes that the road to a healthier, more prosperous life can be found in the pages of this particular new book that you can find on Amazon, and I'm sure he'll tell us other places to find it. Along with his business ventures and ministry endeavors, Dr. Scott has honed his skills as a musician and songwriter. He has recorded several albums, and the proceeds from his latest release, Greatness of Your Love, have been donated to support the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in their fight against blood cancer. In addition to his books including Soaring with Eagles and Be Lifted Up, Dr. Scott also serves as a staff writer for Christian Outlook magazine. He is a suffragan bishop in the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, PAW, and he's also my former neighbor, dentist, friend, and one with whom I grew up in church. He and his wife, my dear friend Christine, are the proud parents of 7. He serves with encouragement, instruction, and enlightenment, providing tools through speaking, books, workshops, and lectures to help individuals improve physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, and spiritually. I know that was a longer introduction, Dr. Scott, but you've done so much. I just had to share that with our audience. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Scott.
Thank you, Sister Winfrey, for introducing me. Thank you for having me on this program. I'm really have great gratitude for being able to share, what we're doing. And Bishop Stuart Reese is a very dear friend, and down through the years. And so I give a big shout out to him and Mother Reese, and congratulations, 53 years. That's awesome. And also Pastor First Lady Reese. I want to thank you all for allowing me to minister. And we're going to be talking about how does oral health affect physical health. But I wanted to share a little bit before I get into that topic about the book, The Ultimate Boost from Within, 31 Days to Health, Wealth, Wholeness, and Happiness, which is geared toward keeping us healthy. There's a difference between being healthy and being in shape. And a lot of people kind of think that's the same thing. If I had to go to the gym and work out every day, and well, you have to do that if you want to be in shape. If you really want to be able to compete, run marathons, or but to be healthy, it really doesn't take a whole lot. And that's what the book kind of talks about. You do have to make some changes in your lifestyle. You do have to exercise. You do have to eat properly. So there are some things you have to do, but it's really not hard. It's not like being in shape. Being in shape can be a challenge. You have to really work to be in shape. But to be healthy, just make a few lifestyle changes, and that's what the book talks about. And I wrote that to kind of show that everybody can be healthy. Unless you have some genetic things going on in your life. You know, there's some people that have some challenges that, regardless of what you do, you know, it's just in your genes that, you know, you have that condition. But most of us can be healthy. And I'm gonna get on my other soapbox now. Is the latest project I put out is called Keep Hymns Alive. And they were playing a little bit of that, you know, toward the first of the opening up program today. And it's all hymns. It's hymns that, you know, I love the new music, and the Bible says sing unto the Lord a new song, but he never said stop singing the old ones, you know. And the hymns of the church, the ones that have stood the test of time, the ones that have come down through the years. Some of them are hundreds of years old and still as relevant and powerful today as they were when they were first written. And but the problem is we're kind of getting away from those. We're getting away from those songs, those standards. And I'm on a mission to keep those songs in the forefront of people's lives, and to use those along with the new songs in our worship services. And so we put out this project, Keep Hymns Alive, which is available and very relevant for today. So both of those are available at Amazon.com or on our website, which is BishopLScott.com. And so I don't know if AJ, can you put those up on the screen? Or they talked to me about sharing my screen. I said, I don't know if I can do that. There's the ultimate boost from within, the 31 days to health, wealth, wholeness, and happiness, which will help you. I've actually had a couple of pastors that have used this book, and have actually, one of them was on a whole bunch of medication for diabetes and other conditions, and they just started doing the things that were in this book. He lost, I forget how many pounds now. It was quite a bit though, something like 50 or 60 pounds, and got off of all of those medications. You know? And you can text Bishop Scott. I guess, was that on the screen? Yeah. So whatever that text was there. And so this book will bless you. It'll bless you. The ultimate boost from within. And also, if you could put up a shot of the CD, Keep Hymns Alive, which of course is available not only in CD form, but also download or streaming, all the streaming platforms. It's nine songs, hymns. The one he was playing was called Bishop's Hymns Medley, but songs like No Never Alone, Great I Am, Jesus Paid It All, Throw Me Overboard. Rance Allen recorded that one, Throw Me Overboard, right? That was actually the last song he recorded before passing. Rock of Ages, Amazing Grace. Kalante Gavin sings Pass Me Not. And Bishop C. Sean Tyson does an awesome rendition of Jesus Paid It All as an organ solo. And it's an awesome CD that will bless you. And so that's available also at Amazon.com and at my website, BishopLScott.com.
Beautiful.
He's the great I am. Hallelujah. So there's this, that's actually the single that's being played right now. But yeah, please avail yourself. I saw in the chat where you had the how you can get the book or the CD. So praise the Lord. We're going to jump right now into the subject matter, which is very, very important. How does oral health affect physical health? And we're going to deal with three areas: oral hygiene, diet, and missing and crooked teeth. So it's amazing that your mouth is more important than you may think. If you stop and think about it, the first sin was in humankind was actually performed with the mouth, with eating something that they weren't supposed to be eating. And just like today, we get in trouble for eating stuff that we shouldn't be eating. Probably not as much consequence as that was, but still have bad consequences. And we're going to be talking about that. But first, I want to talk about oral hygiene. You know, it's amazing that for some reason we separate our mouth from the rest of our body, which actually is all connected. And so when you know, I've had people come into the office and gums are bleeding, and they just, I don't know, they don't think much about it. I've had people come in and say, you know, now why don't you just pull my teeth out, because I know I'm gonna lose them, because mama lost hers, grandma lost hers, and great grandma lost theirs, and the thing is, our teeth are supposed to last for the rest of our lives. Teeth are not supposed to be pulled out. Usually, in most cases, we lose them because we don't take care of them. We don't give them the attention that needs to be given to them. And so, oral hygiene, you know, the things, many of the diseases in our body can be traced back to your mouth. There have been people, young lady kept getting a boil on her leg. And so she went to the doctor and got on some antibiotics, you know, went away, but it came back. And this happened 3 or 4 times. And before they figured out, you know, they somehow she got to a dentist and she had some abscessed teeth in her mouth, and they didn't hurt her. And so she just thought, you know, they don't hurt, so I'm gonna leave them alone. But what was happening was that the bacteria from that abscess in her mouth was what was causing the abscess on her leg. So when they got that taken care of, you know, and so what happens in your mouth, when you get infection in your mouth, it travels to the rest of your body, the same way that infection in any part of your body travels. It gets in your bloodstream and travels throughout and causes problems. And so if your gums are bleeding, you know, it's amazing. Any other place on your body would just start bleeding, and it's not supposed to be bleeding. You would get very, very concerned, and you would go see, why is this bleeding? People just let their teeth bleed and don't think nothing about it. Well, if your gums are bleeding, you got a problem. Something is wrong, and usually it's from not properly taking care of your teeth. Now, most people brush their teeth, but most people don't spend as much time brushing their teeth as they should. I think most people spend maybe 30 seconds brushing their teeth, and you really should spend at least 5 minutes brushing and flossing your teeth. And you should brush twice a day, and you should floss. Now, most people brush, but most people don't floss, unfortunately. And that's where the bleeding gums come in, because when you wake up in the morning and you take your tongue and put it on your teeth, and you feel that furry stuff on there. You know what I mean? When you get up and you feel that furry stuff, and it's kind of yucky, and you want to get it off of there. And so when you brush your teeth, of course, it gets off. Well, most of it does. But the problem is, if you don't floss, that same furry stuff is in between your teeth, because the brush doesn't reach in between your teeth. That's where the problem starts. Now, that furry stuff is called dental plaque. Dental plaque is made up of bacteria and bacterial byproducts. A lot of people think that, you know, if I get the food off of my teeth that I've eaten, that I'll be all right. But that's not quite it. In fact, if you go on a week fast and don't eat anything, that furry stuff will still come up on your teeth when you wake up. And many of us that have been on fast, we know that. You still have that yucky stuff on your teeth, that dental plaque. Now, dental plaque made up of these bacteria, and it's actually what causes the problem is when you eat especially sugar type things, the bacteria feed off of that sugar and what causes the breakdown of the teeth and gums and the bone is the bacterial byproducts, and it's actually bacterial poop. That's what it is. If you can imagine, that's what's in your mouth. What you leave in your mouth when you don't floss is bacterial poop. That ought to make everybody run real quick and grab some floss and get that stuff out of there. And so it breaks down. First, it breaks down the gum tissue. And that's why you get the bleeding, because the periodontal structures that hold the teeth in begin to break down from this acidic byproducts from the bacteria. And after, if you don't get that taken care of, not only does it destroy the gums, but it starts to destroy the bone. And as the bone goes lower and lower, the teeth get looser and looser, and the bleeding starts. And the way to stop that is to keep that plaque off of your teeth. And sometimes, you know, you think you've got it all, but then we have what are called disclosing solutions and disclosing tablets. Maybe when you went to the dentist, you know, the hygienist, you know, had you chew on one of those or put some of it in your mouth and had you swish around, and then had you look in a mirror and you saw this red stuff on your teeth. And that is where the plaque is still there, even though you thought you had got it all off. And every now and then it's a good idea to get disclosing solution. You can get it at the drugstore. It's over the counter. You don't need a prescription for it or anything. It's like a dye that dyes the plaque on your teeth, and it shows up red. So don't do that if you're getting ready to go out somewhere, because your lips and tongue will be red. But it'll only last for, you know, a matter of 10 or 15 minutes, and it'll, you know, be gone. But it'll show you where you've missed and where that plaque is still on your teeth. And so as the plaque not only destroys your gum and bones, but it also causes decay. It causes your teeth to decay. Now, dental enamel is the hardest substance in your body. It's about 2.5 times harder than your bones. The substance, the outer covering of your teeth, the enamel. But that acidic byproducts of that plaque, of those bacteria, actually can make holes through that enamel. And what happens a lot of times, it'll make a little hole through the enamel because the enamel is so hard, but the dentin that is under the enamel is not as hard. And so it'll once it gets through that enamel and gets in the dentin, I mean, it just goes crazy. The dentin isn't as hard, and so it's not as hard for the acid to eat it up. And so keeping those teeth clean, that's the key. Keeping the teeth clean, keeping that plaque off of your teeth. You should brush, you know, at least twice a day, and you should floss at least twice a day. Now, there's another instrument I'm going to talk about that is called a water pick. And the water pick is it's a little instrument that you put water in it, and it jets water in between your teeth. And so if you really got a problem flossing, you know, flossing is the best thing. But if you really, you know, just won't do it, the next best thing is to get what they call a water flosser. And it shoots water in between there. Now the water will get some of the plaque, but It won't do like the floss. The floss actually physically scrapes it off. And so if I can give an example, it's sort of like if you're going to wash your car, if you take a hose, you're going to get some of the dirt off. But if you take a rag, you're going to do a lot better. Take a rag and so that's what the floss is. It's a physical removal, whereas the water jet will get some of it. And I even recommend it though, even if you floss, because the water jet can get in areas that the floss can't get in, because the floss can only go down as far as your gums will let it go down, but the water can actually wash out even deeper than that. So both of them are good. If you do that, that will help you to not have as many cavities and gum disease. Gum disease. It's estimated that about half of Americans have some type of gum disease, and which can be, in most cases, stopped by simply brushing and flossing regularly. But there are some other things that are involved, and one is your diet. Your diet. What are you eating and what are you drinking? I remember when I was practicing in my office, I could almost look in somebody's mouth and tell how many Pepsis they were drinking. Pepsi was, I tell you, and when I wouldn't even have to ask them, what do you what do you drink most of the time? And when the teeth were bombed out, it was usually Pepsi. Pepsi. Another one was Mountain Dew. Those two right there, notorious.
Dr. Scott, don't forget this is Coke country down here too.
Coke, okay. Yeah, Coke is right behind it. I tell you, they all just sodas, period. Sodas. You just need to cut those out of your diet, period. And I say that with a grain of salt. The moderation is the key. Moderation is the key. My wife, she started just eating sweets on the weekends, and I started doing that too. And so it's not like you have to cut out everything, but our problem is, I know a young man, well, he's not young anymore, but he made it his habit at each meal to eat his dessert first before he even ate the main course, because he wanted to make sure he didn't get so full that he wouldn't be able to eat his dessert. Now that's loving sweets, and sweets will eat up your teeth. Those sodas, it's a double whammy with the sugar and the acid, together. And most of us now, they say, I've heard it said that sugar is more addicting than cocaine. Yeah, sugar. And if you really find out how addicted you are when you go on a fast, you find out those things that your body is hooked on. Your body is hooked. It's addicted. These headaches that you have, and these withdrawals that you go through, almost just like being on drugs. It's like you want to, and the amazing thing is, caffeine is another thing. Caffeine, these things they put in our foods, there's a reason for that. But they want you to come back and buy it and keep buying it and keep buying it and keep buying it. They really don't care about your health. And the problem is that I'm getting a little religious on us now, but the problem is your flesh don't care about your health either. Your spirit man cares, but your flesh man don't care. He don't care if you die, and he don't care. He just make him feel good. Make him feel good. Keep him happy. And that's the one we need to crucify. Apostle Paul said, I have to crucify this man daily. Every day, I got to put him back. put him back in the grave. And so that's, we gotta, those sugary, and it's not only the sodas, also, unfortunately, even fruit juices. Fruit juices are full of sugar. They're not quite as bad as the sodas are, but still, what we need to do is eat the fruit. When you juice it, you're getting a glass of orange juice. I don't know how many oranges you think that takes. A glass of orange juice, probably, I don't know, 6, 7 oranges. Think all the fiber you're getting if you eat 6 or 7 oranges. And so along with that sugar, you're getting other things, but if you juice it, all you're getting is the juice, which is a lot of sugar. So you have to even be careful with fruit juices. Eat the fruit, and your diet is real important to and acidic fruits like oranges. Oranges have not only sugar, but also acid, ascorbic acid, that all of that eats away. And so after you eat, even if you don't brush, you should take some water and swish the water and swallow, swish and swallow. And instead of drinking a lot of soda pops and a lot of sugary drinks, drink water. Water. A lot of people think that Pepsi is water. You see, I get my water in my Pepsi. Yeah. So drink a lot of water, a lot of good water, and after you eat, swish that water in your mouth to get as much of that off your teeth as you can until you can brush and floss properly. So oral hygiene, keeping them clean, diet. Now, and then I want to talk about replacing missing teeth. And well, first of all, what happens when you get something that's going on in your teeth, either decay or gum disease? So the first sign. Well, first of all, if you have fairly healthy oral hygiene, and you should at least go once a year and get checked out, because a lot of times things don't hurt. A lot of times you can have problems in your mouth and other parts of your body that don't hurt. There's no pain. And so you should get a checkup, with your physician and your dentist, and your eye doctor and your ear doctor. Just get checked out, because if you catch things when they're small, it's a lot easier to deal with than if you wait until they've progressed. So in your mouth, if you have a little something going on, something's bleeding and it won't stop. A lot of times, if you floss, the bleeding will stop. And so, but if you at least get checked out once a year, get X-rays, and X-rays are not, like they used to be. Not as much radiation needed in today's X-ray equipment. Back in the day, we had to use film, go in the dark room, develop it. Now it's all digital. The radiation has dropped really low in order to get good films where you can see decay between your teeth and other things that are going on. You can catch tumors and a lot of things. When you go to the dentist, he not only checks for cavities and gum disease, also checks for oral cancer. Make sure that you don't have some growths coming and some things going on that seriously damage you. And those same bacteria that are in your mouth that are setting up residents in your mouth, and those same bacteria they've found in heart valves and places that cause serious heart attacks and strokes. All disease has been connected, even with diabetes, other systemic diseases. And so, yeah, go see your dentist at least once a year. Now, if you have some problems, you probably should go twice a year. If you have gum disease, really bad gum disease, some patients actually go 4 times a year because sometimes the pockets, what we call periodontal pockets, have gone so deep that it's almost impossible for you to keep them cleaned out. And so the dentist or the hygienist actually keep that stuff out of there in order for you not to lose your teeth. But if you catch these things early, usually once a year, so anything that pops up can be caught before it becomes big. And so if you get a little cavity, you go in and they found it, they feel it, you're good. It goes too long though, and it gets to the point where it gets down into what's called the pulp, dental pulp, which is the nerve that runs up through the tooth. Then you might have to get what's called a root canal, endodontic therapy, where they go in and take the nerve out and replace it with a fill-in type material, and then put a crown on it, and you've saved your tooth. If it gets to the point where the, say, gum disease or the decay has gone down below the bone and it just can't be restored, you might have to lose the tooth. And if you lose the tooth, it really should be replaced, unless it's a wisdom tooth, unless it's way back on the back. But if it's anywhere else, it really should be replaced, because when you lose one, the other ones start falling into that area. The ones that above it start dropping into it, and it just throws off the whole continuity of your bite. And you start losing teeth and don't get them replaced. Replace a tooth, the best way to replace it is with an implant, if that is feasible. Implants are not always feasible, just depending on how much bone you have. Sometimes if you lose teeth due to loss of bone, that means there's no bone to put an implant in. But sometimes they can go back and put bone there, and then sink an implant in it and give you another tooth. And that's about as close as we can get to doing it, the way God did it, which is giving you an individual tooth. But if you have teeth on both sides of the space, you can do what's called a bridge. And a bridge actually caps the 2 teeth that are left with the false tooth in the middle. It's all one piece, and it's actually cemented in. And it's a good alternative to replacing teeth. The only problem is it's a little harder to floss. So you have to really thread underneath there in order to floss the teeth that are remaining. And then there's another alternative called a removable partial, which and these are getting less and less expensive as we go along. The implant is the most expensive way, and then the bridge is next, and then the partial, which is removable. And a lot of people not really wanting to get partials because they remember grandma taking her teeth out, and and they remember going up to grandma saying, "Grandma, how you take your teeth out?" And so we don't want to be that grandma, Our grandkids coming to us and, "Where are your teeth?" Putting them in a glass and sitting on the table. So, but it is, that's the best way you can get your teeth back in. That's a way to do it. And then, of course, that's a partial denture. And if you've lost all of your teeth, you can go with what's called a full denture, which replaces, all of your teeth. Now, teeth are important not only because it's the first line of digestion. That's the first place that your food gets digested as you chew it, and you chew it, and you prepare it, to go into your stomach, and for the digestive juices to do what they do, and for the food to be assimilated into your body with the nutrients. But Another thing that is very important, so not only for your physical health, but for your emotional health. Your emotional health. I wish I could tell you the number of people, and one of the most rewarding things about dentistry is not only getting people out of pain, but it's getting them their self-esteem back. It's amazing. People, they don't want to smile because they have a tooth missing in the front or something, and they hide. Whenever they open their mouth, they hide it because they don't want you to see, um, the condition of their mouths. And um, sometimes it's, especially children. You know, children can be very cruel, and they're not even trying. It's like they just say things that would destroy you. Um, they call it having fun, and I guess it is fun as long as you're not the one that's being talked about. And they look for things to talk about. I remember when we was a kid, they talked about our ears. We always had big ears, they called it, and they will find anything. I mean, they'll look at your nose, they'll look at, and just make fun. Make fun. But and we laugh, but a lot of times on the inside, it's really destroying us. It just destroys your self-esteem. And I've seen people, who maybe had decay like in the front of their teeth, or either had sometimes like really crooked teeth, really, and then you put braces on them and get them all straight and everything, and it's like they just open up. It's like, whereas they didn't smile before, now they just this um, it really boosts the self-esteem, which is very important, very important. Um, we, a lot of times we put all the emphasis on the physical, but our emotions are very important, and how we feel about ourselves, um, how we interact with others. And I don't know, for some reason, one of the first things people look at is people's mouths. They want to see your smile. They want to see, how, um, and so wow. So that missing crooked teeth, those things can, especially if it's in the front of your mouth, if you got a missing tooth, um, just and I didn't say about, I called the partial dent. A lot of partial dentures are not real expensive, but then there's even a less expensive one called a flipper, which is just, there's no metal in it, it's just plastic, and you can just, it's more for appearance than it is for function. They're not real stable to chew on stuff with, but they look good. They make, you get your appearance back, and they're very inexpensive. And so, time flies when you're having fun. We're down to about 10 minutes, and I wanted to, if there's any questions or anything that anyone would want to, I don't know, would it be in the chats? Is that where it would be?
You have about 8 minutes, Dr. Scott, and they can raise their hands if they have a question.
Okay.
And under reactions, in most computers, or either if they're on the phone, they'll just excuse it, just speak up.
Okay. Someone here talking about an abscess. They had 83 at the time, had a serious abscess, appeared as a golf ball size knot in his cheek, drove him to hospital, went into a grand mal seizure. Wow, sitting in there, knot had developed overnight. Yeah, those so the deal is that people, before the discovery of antibiotics, lots of people died from toothaches. They died from the infection in their mouths. It's interesting. Back then, the dentist a lot of times didn't have an office. he rode his horse from town to town. People that had problems with their teeth would come out, and he would take the pliers out of his saddlebag. You know, they hadn't been cleaned from the last extraction he did, and put them in the person's mouth, blood from the other person still on it. Pull out, pull the tooth, which a lot of times would break off, you know. Put his things back in his saddlebag and ride to the next town. A lot of them people died. Them just from cross infection from other people. They didn't know anything about bacteria. All they knew was you got that in your mouth and it needs to come out. So antibiotics has allowed a lot of people that would have died not to die. But still, the thing is, we know now that the bacteria are the problem. And in the mouth, you can regulate those bacteria. You can get rid of those, you know, so that you don't get a abscess on your mouth, so that you can be healthy.
Dr. Scott, another question that says, is swishing with peroxide a good thing?
Swishing with peroxide can be good, problem is that peroxide is kind of harsh, and some people think that it can cause damage if it's done all the time on your soft tissues. Now, if you get your teeth whitened, it's a peroxide type situation that is on the teeth to whiten them. But the problem isn't with the teeth so much as it is with the soft tissues. You know, people use peroxide to bleach their hair, so that'll show you how caustic it is. You know, it's but it will kill bacteria, and you just have to be careful with it on the soft tissue. A lot of times we'll use peroxide if people have infections in their mouth, to get that infection under control. But just to use it, it's almost like antibiotics, you know. You need to use antibiotics when you need to use antibiotics. You don't need to be on them every day, because what it'll do, it'll start killing out the good bacteria. It'll start, you know, even allowing for bacteria to become immune to the antibiotic, and you get these strains that can't be controlled anymore. So you have to be careful with those type of things.
What about the use of mouthwash?
Mouthwash, mouthwash is good. Most of it not going to do too much more than water is going to do. It just tastes better, you know. Or now some of the ones that have alcohol in them, you got that same situation. It's really kind of harsh for your gums and your soft tissue. So yeah, but if you are there again, have disease in your mouth, there are certain mouthwashes that will, just like peroxide, will help, you know, kill those bacteria that you don't want to stay on them, you know, they're really too harsh to stay on. And you know what? I failed to mention, when you clean your teeth, you also need to brush your tongue. You need to brush the roof of your mouth. You need to brush your cheeks. You need to brush under your tongue, your whole mouth. You need to, not just your teeth, brush everything, and then swish, and, you know, because bacteria, believe it or not, accumulate in all those areas.
Okay. All right. And here's a question. What causes grinding your teeth? Is a customized night guard effective?
Yes, grinding. It's usually caused by, a lot of times caused by stress. And then also it can be caused by malocclusion, where your teeth don't come together properly, and so your bite is off. And grinding, by having an appliance, a night appliance, it helps you not to grind. It holds your teeth apart, and also reduces the pressure in your joint. Grinding also can cause problems in your, what's called the TMJ, the temporal mandibular joint, where your jaw fits up into your skull. But yes, those appliances do work.
Okay.
Bruxism.
We have about another minute or two. Does anyone else have any questions? Those are the ones in the chat.
I have a question. It was in the chat, but we didn't cover it. Dr. Scott, would you recommend us getting a tongue scraper?
Yes, tongue scrapers are very effective. They get underneath, some of the, if you haven't used one for a while and you use one, you'll see a lot of stuff on it that you say, whoa, this was in my mouth. A lot of gunk that gets up under those little doodads on your tongue there. But yeah, they're very effective. If you don't have a tongue scraper, brush your tongue. If you have a tongue scraper, use the tongue scraper to, and as you use the tongue scraper, it'll get less and less stuff on it as you use it day by day. But yes, they're very, very effective.
All right, and I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
There was something else too. It says just before you took questions, you were talking about a method that restores your look, but now the best on overall tooth function. What process is that? What did you say is the better choice?
Oh, let's see. Say that one more time.
That was not instead of now. It was a typo, not.
Okay, you want to explain your question, Sister Cheryl?
So the question, I missed something you were saying just prior to questions, taking questions, and somebody wrote in the chat a flipper. I don't know what you discussed, but you were speaking of some method that would restore your smile, but it didn't seem to give functionality to your actual teeth. And it was just prior to questions. I just missed what it was that you were talking about.
Yes, that was the flipper. So
Okay.
a flipper is a partial, but it's not, it's a very inexpensive, when finances is a problem. And so a regular partial a lot of times has metal like clamps and very sturdy, but a flipper is totally made out of plastic. And
I see.
so it
And
doesn't
so
clamp on.
the better product there would be the actual partial that's fitted to your mouth. If finances, I guess, are okay.
Well, if finances are okay, the best would be an implant, and so it just kind of comes down, and then would be a bridge, and then would be the partial that clamps on, which is still removable. But then if that's a little too pricey and you need something, you're going for a job interview tomorrow, you don't have the money for what you really need, but I need something, the flipper is quick and looks really good, but it's just not real functional because there are no clamps on it or anything, to hold it in there. It just kind of sticks in there, or you can get some of the denture adhesive and help hold it in.
Thank you.
Yes.
There's another question that says, should wisdom teeth be removed if they are not problematic?
Should wisdom teeth be removed if they're not problematic? I would say in most cases, no. Just leave them there. Now problematic could mean that, of course, if they're causing you pain, that's problematic. But they can be a place where stuff harbors. They could be a thing where you can't keep them clean, and bacteria. Just so, but if there's room for them, if they're not crowding stuff out, if they're not growing into something else, yeah, just leave them there.
All right, and Dr. May, you have a question. We are out of time, but we're going to let you ask your question very quickly. And I know that we are supposed to stop at 12 o'clock, and I see Sister White's hand.
You're fine, Sister Winfrey, you're good.
That was
y'all
my
just gotta get
question.
this couple
So
more
I'm good.
minutes. All right, you answered your
That
question.
was my question. So I'm
Okay.
done. Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. And Sister White, we'll let you have the last question. Sister Joy White.
It must be on mute.
On mute. Okay, that was an awesome presentation, Doctor. I would just want to make an observation that sometimes people don't go to the dentist because they can't afford. And we have all types of dental insurance. Some insurances are very good. They cover crowns and root canal and all that. Some others don't cover everything. Some don't cover just about anything, you know? So this is a problem too sometimes, why people, because of the health situation in the nation, you know, people just don't have the means to go, they don't have a good insurance, dental insurance, that with some people, when they retire too, they can't take their dental insurance into retirement with them. And others who can, that's just a blessing. That's a real blessing. So there's just so many variables and parameters that affect what happens with people and their mouths and their teeth and what happens. But we just have to do the best we can.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. I can tell you some statistics that will kind of blow your mind. Things that they've done. They actually had people that they brought in for this experiment, and they told them, one group, you know, that we're gonna fix your, now all of this is free. We're gonna fix your teeth using partials. Another one, we're gonna fix your teeth using implants. No charge. About 30% of the ones that were going to get implants said they didn't want them. And the reason wasn't money, as you can see. The reason was fear. They were scared. They were scared of surgery. So a lot of times, what you think is money is really not money. A lot of times people buy what they want. That's the deal right there. You'll see them with other stuff, but when it comes to, and not only their teeth, their health, it's just like it takes a back seat. I've had people, you know, when I was in the old office, we used to have a TV in our waiting room, and we got rid of it because we learned that our competition wasn't the dentist down the street. Our competition was the new car, the family vacation, you know, you know, and people prioritize that over their health. You know, they just, and they'll blame it on insurance, but you ain't got no insurance to buy that car. You know, you have insurance to take that in vacation. That's, I mean, you spending your money for it, but you don't want to spend your money on your health. You know, you want to let the insurance company do that, whether they're not going to take care of it, I'm not going to take, you know, it's like, now, and you think logically, is that good logic? What's the most important thing you have? Your health.
Okay, and I just want to interject here, doctor, that is what, when you go to college and you study economics is the science of using your scarce resources to maximize your satisfaction, okay? So if people don't value their teeth and they value a car, that's economics. That's their economics is going to push them in that direction. That's what economics is all about. Using your scarce resources to maximize your satisfaction. So, and everybody's satisfaction is different. It varies. Everything is relative.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Well. And very quickly in the chat, there are comments in the chat that people have really enjoyed this, and I'm happy with my implants, someone says, Sister Bonnie.
Right.
And then it says, Dr. Scott, this is one of your former patients, Sister Donna Williams. Good to see you today. And I saw John Scott on here too. Got to jump on the workday. I'll say yes. And I would say, and we're so privileged to have you among us. And Dr. Scott was my first dentist when I went back to Indianapolis. And I tell you, I told him this and he was surprised to hear it. He put a crown in my mouth that I had, and years later I had that crown, and I had many dentists to talk about who did this, what that such good work that he did, you know, in my mouth, and that was you know, he was just surprised. But you are a very good dentist, even though you're retired. I really appreciate that, and we appreciate all the information that you share with us today.